Hey everyone, welcome back. I am absolutely thrilled to have you here for today's explainer. We're going to be breaking down the anatomy of what is just a phenomenal action thriller. We're talking relentless action, incredibly sharp dialogue, and some really profound underlying themes in a pivotal scene from the 2025 film A Working Man. So, grab a seat, get comfortable, and let's just dive right in.
Your father is dead, tied to a chair and drowned in his pool. Wow. Okay, right out of the gate, this is our inciting incident. It's the chaotic, incredibly brutal hook that literally launches this whole narrative. I mean, it's not just some throwaway line, right? It's a highly vivid, violent image designed to just instantly slap you with the life or death stakes of this universe. In basically 2 sentences, boom, we are plunged into a world where the consequences are severe, they're fatal, and they are intensely personal. You immediately get a feel for the kind of shadowy, violent brotherhood we're dealing with here. All right, moving on to Section 1, Equipping for War. Now, there is an absolute poetry to the violence on display when we look at the weapons sommelier's offerings. Seriously, just listen to these incredibly gritty descriptions. First up, we've got the Kalashnikov, famously described as killing Americans since 1947, which, by the way, comes in a deluxe version apparently pulled right out of Saddam's palace. Crazy, right? Then there's the M4 carbine, casually referred to as the Chevy Impala of the War on Terror. Like it's just a totally normal everyday car. If stealth is more the vibe, the sommelier offers the sleek MP5 SD, perfect for when you want to, quote, kill somebody but don't want to wake them up. And finally, the absolute beast of the bunch, the M14, hailed as one of the original weapons of the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse. It's brilliant writing. It treats this horrific, devastating weaponry with this casual, almost reverent expertise that tells you literally everything you need to know about these characters and their incredibly dark pasts. And building on that whole dark past vibe, notice how these weapons have their serial numbers completely drilled out. As the sommelier points out, these were never here, never anywhere. This right here, this is absolutely crucial. It emphasizes the totally shadowy, completely off-the-books nature of the mission we're about to see. Our protagonist isn't just bending the rules, he's stepping completely outside the bounds of the law. He's operating as a total ghost. It's a stark reminder to us, the audience, that what's about to go down is completely untraceable, which perfectly mirrors the completely hidden, illegal operations of the traffickers he's hunting down.
So that brings us to Section 2, the interrogation and deal.
Come closer and she dies. Okay, so the antagonist realizes he's completely cornered here. And in this incredibly desperate bid for survival, he tries to leverage violence, while literally in the same breath offering the protagonist a brand new life as a wealthy man. He's basically saying, hey, just disappear, take the cash, go live a nice, quiet life. The tension in this scene is just off the charts. The antagonist actually thinks he can just buy his way out of this mess. But man, does he fundamentally miscalculate who he is dealing with. Our guy doesn't want the money, he wants information. End of story. And this leads the desperate antagonist, who, by the way, just cannot comprehend a motive that isn't driven by cold hard cash or self-preservation, to ask our relentless protagonist this question. Why risk everything? Why kill everyone for her? It's such a brilliant, brilliant moment for pacing. The action just completely stops for a beat. It forces us, the viewers, to ask ourselves the exact same question. Like really, what is actually driving this absolute unstoppable force of a man? Well, here's the answer. Because I told her I had her back. That's it. That is the whole shebang. It's punchy, it's incredibly stoic, and it is the absolute core engine driving this entire mission. There's no grand, sweeping philosophical monologue here. Actually, scratch that. It's better than a monologue. It's just a rock-solid, unbreakable promise. In a world defined by greed, betrayal, and, drilled-out serial numbers, this simple, unwavering loyalty is exactly what makes our protagonist so terrifyingly lethal. You can't buy him, and you definitely cannot reason with him. So, through the intense pressure of that interrogation, the protagonist finally extracts exactly what he needs to know. Destination, south on 57. Notice how this really tense negotiation completely shifts the momentum of the narrative. We're not just stuck in a static room anymore. The geographic target is locked in, the crosshairs are firmly placed on the villain's stronghold, and man, the narrative just accelerates from here.
Which leads us nicely into Section 3, Anatomy of the Syndicate.
Now, the corporate jargon used here is just brilliant, and honestly,
terrifying because it perfectly illustrates the horrific reality of the enemy. There's this key figure known as Viper, right? And he's described by his own people as the chief of the Human Resources Department and recruiting for special projects. I mean, let that sink in for a second. They are describing a monster who orchestrates human trafficking using the sterile, boring, everyday language of a mid-level office manager. It completely strips away the humanity of the victims by wrapping this heinous crime in a shiny corporate title.
But the really crucial point is how this corporate structure actually functions on the ground. Step 1. Viper goes to a club and takes pictures of pretty girls. Step 2. Those pictures get sent out to clients. Step 3. The clients make a choice. And Step 4. A meeting is arranged. It is a sickeningly sterile, step-by-step corporate process. When you lay it out like this, you really see how the syndicate systematically turns human lives into just inventory. It's literally an assembly line of exploitation.
And to further underscore that completely chilling detachment, just think about this highly specific, highly transactional analogy. One trafficker describes his specialty service as, quote, like shopping for a set of snow tires. It's such an incredibly disturbing line precisely because it is so mundane. To this guy, human lives are just completely commodified. They're basically interchangeable parts you pick up before winter hits. This attitude sets up the ultimate ideological clash that's about to explode.
And that brings us to our final part. Section 4, the ultimate motivation. Here we get this incredibly stark contrast. On one hand, you have the trafficker justifying his completely amoral business by saying, "You think money gives a shit where it comes from? If I didn't do this, somebody else would." I mean, talk about the ultimate passing of the buck, right? He's completely avoiding any personal responsibility by just blaming the systemic demand for evil. But then, on the flip side, the protagonist offers this profoundly simple moral baseline. These are human beings. While the trafficker is out here seeing snow tires and dollar signs, the protagonist sees the undeniable inherent humanity that the syndicate has worked so hard to erase. So, as the trafficker's world is quite literally collapsing all around him, he has this one final desperate plea. He asks, "Why do you hunt us?" You see, he still just cannot wrap his head around why someone would systematically dismantle this highly profitable business operation just because of a promise. He's desperately trying to understand the nature of this unstoppable force that has come to completely destroy him. Which leaves us with this incredible, lingering, emotional punch. The protagonist looks at the trafficker and asks, "You have a daughter?" The trafficker replies, "No." And the protagonist just simply says, "Then you won't understand." Wow, it so perfectly encapsulates his unyielding motivation, because it's not just about an old promise. It is deeply rooted in a fierce, protective, paternal instinct, an instinct that this cold, corporate trafficker is just fundamentally incapable of grasping. So, I want to leave you with this thought as we wrap up today's explainer. When a narrative completely strips away the legal system, the authorities, and all of society's built-in safety nets, what remains as the ultimate justice? As this breakdown shows us, sometimes it's simply the unbending will of someone who understands the true value of a human life. Thank you so much for diving into this with me. Keep exploring, keep questioning the mechanics of the stories you watch, and what do you think? Would you go this far for a promise? Let that simmer, and I'll catch you in the next one.
Hello guys, welcome to Hollywood movies trailers and coming soon movie. Hey YouTube, is my controversy or small activities real? So guys subscribe. Let's begin and we start. Coming to amazing movie trailer story. Tomorrow 9 10 p.m.